Hi class. All right, so most of you have finished and turned in your preliminary bibliography, and if you're still working on that, keep working on it, keep working on it. Remember, a preliminary bibliography is just a list of possible sources that you're going to need for your paper. So all of them you won't be able to use, some of them you will, some of them you won't. Make sure you have a wide variety of sources as the instructions said. Those instructions are posted on Blackboard under assignments. There are two links to preliminary bibliography information. Please read through all of this information before you do your preliminary bibliography. So you're going to end up with a minimum of 12 possible sources of a wide variety of things. So you'll have some books, you'll have some database sites, you may have some primary sources, you may have some interviews, some microfiche, magazine articles, maybe one or two at the most Googled from the internet sources. But you will have a list of solid sources that may be able to be used for your paper. They look promising. You haven't read them yet, but they look promising. So when you finish your preliminary bibliography, what you're going to do is you're going to begin to do research on those sources. Now, the great thing about the preliminary bibliography is it's going to lead you to other things. For example, let's say you're writing on global warming, just as a topic. Let's say you read one of the chapters or one of the articles in the book on global warming. At the end of the article, there's going to be a bibliography. You can use that bibliography to lead you to other possible articles, books, etc. on global warming. And here's the great thing about that. Because it's already been published, these sources have already been vetted. In other words, we know that these are probably reliable sources. You can also look at the bibliography that appears at the end of the book. You're going to have a lot of sources there. I don't want to see encyclopedia sources. I don't want to see reference books. You can use those that will lead you to other sources. For example, at the end of an article from an encyclopedia, it's going to have a bibliography. And so that bibliography is going to help lead you to sources that may be of interest and of use to you. Okay, so let's say that's done. You've got lots of great sources. You're going to begin reading. Now, some of these sources are not going to pan out. You're going to get to some of them and they're not going to be any good, or they're going to be talking about things that are not necessarily useful to you, etc. So you're really just going to scan the source at the beginning. You're not going to sit there and just read through the whole thing, and after 3 paragraphs you realize this isn't going to help you. Stop reading. Go on to the next thing. All right. But as you are reading, you're going to come to sources that have very good information that you're going to be able to use for your paper. So what you need to do when you do find those sources is you need to take very careful notes. You need to begin to code your sources. Okay, you've got your preliminary bibliography there. You've got it in alphabetical order. Now what I want you to do is, let's say source A doesn't pan out. Scratch a line through it. Don't worry about that. Maybe the second source on there is an excellent source. Okay, so you're going to make some notes on that source. You're going to call that source A or source 1, or you're going to color code it blue. Whatever you want to do, whatever's best for your keeping up with the information. And then you're going to take notes. If you quote something directly, if you find some section that you want to quote directly, make sure you copy it exactly, word for word. For technically, if you copy something and you change it a bit, that's plagiarism, because you're saying somebody said something that they didn't actually say. So you have to be able to, if you're directly quoting it, to make sure it's quoted exactly as the writer wrote it. Make sure you write down the source. You indicate the source. Make sure you indicate the page number. Sometimes a quotation starts on one page and goes over to the other page. Make sure you know where it goes from one page to the other, because you're going to have to indicate both those page numbers in your document. So in other words, take very, very careful notes for anything that's going to be useful to you. The next sort of section that you're going to be working on, in addition to your outline is just going to be how you're actually going to present this material in your finished document. You've got your essay already written. So what you're really doing now is you're inserting expert opinion into that document. So you've got a general idea of how you're going to present this information and a general order of how this information is going to roll out in your paper, because you've already written the basic essay. So now what you're going to do is you're going to decide, is that the best order? Maybe I want to change things around a little bit. Maybe if I'm talking about global warming, I don't want to begin by giving you a list of the disasters that have taken place because of this phenomenon. Maybe what I want to begin with is how many people don't believe this is an actual phenomenon. They say, oh, that's just something made up by some scientists to make everybody scared. So maybe you want to begin with that discussion. You're going to have to figure out what order is the best order to put this information in. So that's where your outline comes in. You always want to have a plan. Your outline is a plan that you're going to follow, so that when it's late at night, you're trying to write this paper and you don't know what to say next, that plan, that outline is going to guide you through what to say next, because you've already planned out what you're going to talk about first, what you're going to talk about second, what you're going to talk about next, etc. I've posted under your assignments 2 things on outline. First is just general information from OWL on writing the outline, what an outline is, what kind of information goes in it. The second thing is called writing an outline. It's got general information on the first page, and the second page is a worksheet on writing an outline. And I want you to use this worksheet to fill in for your outline. The first thing the worksheet asks you for is your thesis statement. So you take your thesis statement that you've refined. Everybody who turned one in, I responded to you and gave you lots of notes, lots of feedback on that thesis. So by now you should have refined that thesis. You're going to plug it into that worksheet. You've got your thesis. Now, underneath that thesis, there's room for main ideas. Okay, so what's your first main idea? What's the first thing you're going to talk about? And I want you to write this in complete sentences, like topic sentences, or there actually are topic sentences. What's your little sub-argument? Now, underneath that, you're going to use your support. What support are you going to use? The statistics on global warming. Over the past 10 years, the earth has warmed X amount of degrees. What kind of support are you going to give me in that little section to help me buy into this point you're trying to make about global warming, etc.? And it asks you to repeat that again and again. So when you see in the worksheet, now you may have more stuff to put in your outline that there's room for on that worksheet. Just keep going. You're just going to copy that format. Then you're going to upload that outline to SafeAssign as a Word document. It's in Word. Just type the stuff in, upload the whole, upload that document to SafeAssign. All right, so you've got your preliminary bibliography. You kind of know what your sources are going to be. You've got your outline. You know what you're going to do with those sources. You're taking your notes. I want you also to turn in your electronic note cards. So those are going to be due. I've moved the due date for that. The outline, you got to start doing the notes before you can make the outline, but you don't have to finish all the notes. You just kind of have to know where you're going. Okay, so the outline is going to be due Friday, March the 20th. The note cards are going to be due, electronic note cards, March the 31st. And I'm going to also post for you a form, a format to fill in for your electronic note cards. So it'll have kind of your point that you're trying to make, your sub point, and then it will have all of the various supporting points that you want to make. Sorry, my phone is ringing. Let me turn that off. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. And so that's going to be due on March the 31st. That's your note cards. Now, listen. Some of you are trying to do this work or these worksheets and you're not reading the information or looking at the videos that I'm posting online. The whole point of putting the information and posting the videos is to help teach you how to do it. You're also supposed to be going to those chapters in your textbook to help work through this information. Now, you can always email me or call me with questions. Most of the questions I'm getting though are not about how to do the thesis statement or how to do the preliminary bibliography or how to do the worksheets or how to do the outline, which is what I'm expecting you to ask me. But it's questions like you're not looking for or finding the stuff. I post the information under the assignments tab. And so what I've done now is I've sort of figured out that you have not been scrolling all the way down to the bottom, because when I post something, Blackboard puts it at the very bottom of the list. So what I've started to do now is whatever's due next, I've moved it up to the top. So it'll be the first thing you see instead of the last thing. I hope that helps. The other thing is you've just got to go in and you've got to look at the videos. You've got to read all the information. You've got to read the book chapters. And I'm trying to put that information in announcements so maybe people will kind of see how to do it first before you actually do it. So, preliminary bibliography, I hope that I will get everybody's today. I will have your essays graded and back to you sometime this week so that you'll have those to fold your information in so that you can write your draft for your research paper. The outlines are due by Friday, and everything is always due by 11:59 p.m. And then your electronic note cards are due by March 31st. If you have any questions about how to do something, you need some suggestions about where to find information, etc., you can call me, extension 8501. You can email me. But begin with Blackboard. Begin with all that information I put on Blackboard for you around any assignment. Okay, take care. Bye.